All right. Welcome, everyone, to our webinar. It's going to be a fun couple of moments here as we dive into reputation management and how you can master reputation management with strategic sentiment analysis. This is a great way, I would say, to wrap up the first part of the year and head into the vacation. Hopefully, you'll have a lot of things to think about coming from this. I encourage you to ask any questions you might have. If we can reply to them directly, we will, or I will. If not, we'll follow up with you afterwards. So let's go. So what do we have on the report for today? We're going to go through, of course, the introduction. That part is now done. Then we're going to just briefly go into what is reputation management, what do we mean by that, and why should you start working with this. We're going to take a sneak peek into the future and specifically on the topic of AI and the role it has to play in this. Then we're going to go through some typical challenges and also how our platform here solve these. Then on to some key features and benefits for you. And then we're going to check at some live footage from the different parts of our reputation management platform. In the end, obviously, I hope you will all ask the question, how can we get started? And so speaking about getting started, let's go. So first off, some stats. Because this is super important to keep in mind. It's clear that if you are going to have guests, it's good to have reviews because most of them will check before booking. This is the same if you are talking about hotels or lodging of any kind, as well as any experience. And furthermore, if you have no or bad reviews, this will, of course, make guests think a second time before actually booking. They might even go to a competitor instead. And then if you are on top of your reviews and you respond appropriately to negative reviews, meaning you don't maybe say something bad to the guest, instead having a more proactive approach, then this will drastically increase the trustability of the guest, and they will also then feel more comfortable to make a booking with you. So when we talk about reputation management and why you should start doing it or working with it, it's all about a few key things. First of all, aggregating data, such as this platform does, from basically any open source on the internet, everything from booking.com, TripAdvisor, Google, Facebook, and 50 more, something like that, in many different languages. When you get access to this data, you also get insights that can help you drive change based on this data to make a real impact on your business. This will help you control the narrative so you can react quickly when something bad is written about you. And of course, so be positive when guests are giving you good feedback. If you can act on that quickly, then that will also help you steer the ship in the right way. If we talk about a guest, I would say that most of the time guests tend to mix up or put everything together when it comes to the full experience. So if you have a guest that will go to an airport and then usually goes to that restaurant and then shows up to that place, that attraction, and then finally ends up in your hotel or any other way around, it might be something you want to keep in control of. So you might want to actually look into data from those players as well. So this should be used to your advantage. In the end, all of these things will help you get ahead If you benchmark against competitors, maybe you are maybe you are a place in Norway, a ski resort perhaps, then you may want to benchmark against the ski resort in Sweden or one in Norway. Or if you are doing fjord cruises, you might want to see how the others perform in that area. Same with hotels, destinations, countries even. Could be the world versus another world if that were to exist. So who is this for? First of all, if destination with many different properties suppliers, then this is how you stay on top of how guests view your entire destination. You can also go into more detail to give specific feedback to your suppliers. You are mostly reviewed by families and they tend to have a very good overall score, but food seems down. Then that is something they can know. And the total score for your destination goes up, as well as, of course, for that particular supplier in this case. If you are a hotel or cabin broker or any type of lodging provider, this is how you can make sure to align your perception of the quality of service that you deliver versus the guests. Because it's important to not think that something is good. It's better if you know for a fact it's good. And also if it's bad, of course, so you can fix it. If you're an experienced provider, you may want to gain insight into how guest satisfaction changes, for example, during peak season. Are you better off maybe introducing some sort of pricing differences to spread out the crowds? If you can read that from the data, then you might have more actions to make. And then again, everything, more or less everything can be reviewed these days. And I would say that means basically anyone who are interested in what other people think of a survey or an experience. This can be for more or less everyone. And then, of course, we can't not talk about it. I would say that from what I hear, what I read, and also from service and everything, it's important that you embrace and respect what AI will do and the changes that will come from it to how we do business. One thing that is very clear is that AI will help us make choices in the future. I mean, it's already doing that, but it will only be more going forward. And so keep in mind that AI use data on the internet to give the recommendations for the hotels or the experience. And that will be heavily based, of course, on what is said, so reviews. So again, highlighting the importance of staying on top of that. If you can steer the narrative, then that will also help with you being friends with AI. So what are the typical challenges that we are faced with? For one, work with this manually can be, I mean, it's definitely a full-time job if you want to do it correctly, or if you want to do it at full scale. To stay in touch of all the sources and also all the languages can be a very, very, very tedious process. And then once you have seen all these data, you also need to summarize, structure it, create reports from it and insights. And the more you add up, then you realize quickly that this is virtually impossible to do, especially in the landscape we're in today. Then, of course, I think a lot of us walk around with the perception that we're doing something in a good way. And we just expect everyone to have the same view. And if we are, I wouldn't say naive, but if we think that and we don't care about what others might actually think, then this is something that will only harm us, and it will definitely not help us increase a number of bookings and profits and revenue and so on. This is a typical challenge as well. Then, of course, when it comes to planning. So looking at data, but from a specific point of view, planning how we market ourselves. Who are we talking to? Who likes us? Who doesn't like us? That comes down to basically the travel compositions. I know a lot of people who listen here and who we work with on a daily basis. They have a perception that they might be a family-oriented place or a premium location, or that the food is awesome, so on. These things, if you have at your fingertips whenever you want, and you can see who are you talking to, that will make it much easier. Otherwise, it's basically just guessing, and that money down the drain for marketing and so on. So how do we solve this? Well, I mentioned before that we source data, fetch data from basically the whole internet. And this is sources that you have heard of, obviously, Booking.com, TripAdvisor, Get Your Guide, Facebook. But they're also very, for us in the Nordics, more unknown sources of reviews where people from different places in the world like to go, just as we do for Google, for example. Those sources are here as well, meaning that you can rely on this platform to get you the information that exists not only from the most common platforms in our mind. We also take all this data, scram, we do everything from numerical scores. So usually, you said 1 to 10, for example, on something, 1 to 5, 1 to 12, doesn't really matter. We take that and we summarize it into 1 through 10. Numerical scores is one thing. What we have seen is that for accommodation, this is very common. This has been there for a long time. For hotels, etc., is very much worked into our sort of way of living. But looking at the attraction space, it's a totally different story. Usually, it's only one very clear, like, did you like it or not? Yes or no, 0 to 10. Not really specifics for maybe food or value for money and so on. So there we also have the sentiment analysis. And what this means is that we go in, and I think it's now 17 native languages, read reviews, and then we make, we basically take out positive things. Maybe, I really liked because it was a very efficient queuing situation, or the food was fantastic, positive, right? But then you have maybe a long review, and in the end it says, it was a bit sad that we had to pay full price for the experience, even though we liked it really much. So we set a 9 in the overall score, but we had that little thing in the end, actionable insight. And that was the neutrals. So we take this sentiment analysis and we basically score these down to your subcategories. I will show this later. This is clearly great. And then we combine the numerical scores and the sentiment scores, and we put it into what we call the traveler experience score. So it's a combination of the sentiment analysis, the numerical scores, also in numbers, because that's an easy way to view it. And then visualize this in dashboards for you. Let's go. So what are some of the key features? We have talked about many of these, but you might think, okay, but these things sound great, but why should I care? Why is this good for me? Looking at things you want to do, you want to drive customer loyalty. You want to increase guest satisfaction and trust in your brand. You want to have the competitive advantage to know which marketing campaigns to run and not. You want to make sure to stay on top of anything that is not as you want it to be, to make sure that the overall score, the overall experience is great. That would mean more bookings. That would mean higher revenue, of course. That would mean a more positive vibe overall for your guests when they talk to friends, etc. So that's that you really want to do. And also, working with data, you remove sort of the guessing game from the equation. And that is very efficient. And it will help you take informed decisions and drive change for any part that you decide to include in this. So we're talking about some powerful stuff here. In general, I would say that this is something I have seen after having spoken to quite a few of our customers, it seems that we have some organizations actually employing people to basically do this job. And I would say that these people can be empowered to get insight and then act on it, spread the organization, and make sure that every touch point for the guest gets better. But I know you're all here to see more of how it looks, so let's dive in. First off, you have different tools at your disposal. If you are looking to take the temperature for your whole destination, might be that you are a theme park and you have one hotel, maybe you have some partner hotels, and then you have some restaurants that you like to push or that are nearby. Maybe that's your destination, or you are the whole north of Norway, or you are Norway. Then the destination dashboard is for you. But with that, you will have a high-level overview, and you will have the option to drill down on some more ratings and sub-ratings. And you will have, oh, and by the way, here you see the benchmark that I spoke about. So in this case, it might be that we are the ski resort benchmarking versus another ski resort, or we might be a country versus another country, city versus city, museum versus museum, and so on. And this is how you know, how you spot your weaknesses compared to your vision. You can see where the reviews are coming from. Clearly for Swedes here, and also for families. Couples are also quite strong in this case, but this is number of reviews. Then you all have per segment, and per composition. In this case, I decided to look at families. So what do families in general think about us? So we see that that seems to be quite well, but what if, for example, value was low? And I mean, that's something you need to act. Families don't have endless amounts of money to these days, and everyone is fighting for them because they tend to be quite good guests anyway. So this is also just at your disposal from the menu, very easy to do. And then another powerful thing is to sort of pit your spheres versus each other. So here it could be that you have the theme park, the hotel, the partner hotel, and maybe a restaurant, for example. Then you would be able to see, okay, do we have any outliers here? It seems supplier number 2, the perception is that the value is not that great. How do we address that? And what you do then is that you use the, if we go back a few slides, if you use the reputation part here to actually go in and see, okay, what was it with supplier number 2, obviously scrambled names, that made, which reviews caused this dip in score? You can drill down on that. You can go per composition, you can go per language, you can do what you want, and then you can also reply from there if you want to take action. So that's a very, very powerful thing. Also, of course, let's give supplier number 3 some kudos for getting a 10 on location. Right, and then go even further. And this is, I think, where we spoke earlier about how you can use this to take informed decisions on marketing, which basically offers to send, or which who you are talking to, really. And here you can see that for this supplier X, seems again value is down. Perhaps this is supplier number 2, but its facilities are great. So on that, send ratings. What are people actually writing about this place? And then it stays there. Okay, Sweden seems to be an overwhelmingly big part of their market, but we have Dutch and some Danish people as well. Fans, clear winner here. I mean, this will, if you were sitting and pushing, in this case, if you were pushing a lot of marketing to friend groups, then chances are you're not really hitting the nail on that one. this can help you and inform. You can inform your suppliers about this as well. One of my favorite things about this, back to the thing about creating the accountability in your destination or whatever you want to call yourself. You can set up reports either to you on a quarterly basis, maybe. And then you can also have monthly like KPI reports sent to all suppliers you work with or some suppliers that you want to keep an extra eye on, or maybe key suppliers, whatever it might be. You can decide what to include in this. So it might be that you want to include your key position groups, or you want to include the overall scores. That's up to you. You can templify it, make templates, that is, and then have this automated. And this will, I mean, clearly, if you get this on paper and it's based off of not your feeling of things, your gut feeling, but rather what people are actually saying who's been there. This is great. So this is one of my favorite things. We of course offer you to do tailor-made service. Maybe you have renovated your entire ski resort, or maybe you built a new slope. That will be then possible to survey through a QR code that you can put up, you know, in the share lifts or in the after ski or somewhere. Just what did you think about our new slope? Great. And then you can also, you have built, for example, a new roller coaster, or you have introduced a whole new restaurant concept in your hotel. You have opened a spa, whatever it might be. You have a new air built. I don't know. What do you think about this particular thing that we want to know? Makes it worth it. For anyone who is an hotel, so properties, hotels, hotel chains, or if you are an attraction, so like a museum or a theme park, then you can also have your insights built right to either iTicket or BookVisit, depending on which platform you use. And you can add benchmarking right in there, and you can reply to reviews from there as well. So it makes it easy. You don't have to move around too much. This will be become a more normal part of your day, or a regular starter if you want to do that. If you want to know more on this in particular, and you are either hotel or vacation provider, lodging provider, or any iTicket user, then hit us up afterwards and we'll be sure to show you this. And speaking about getting in touch, how can we get started? I'm pretty sure that all of you are asking this at this point. Getting started with our reputation management is fairly simple. It requires very little work from our end. Basically, what we need to know is, who do you want to see? Do you want to see the whole destination or parts of the destination? Do you want to see you only? You want to benchmark versus someone. When we know that, we're pretty sure that you can be up and running with at least some of the data in about 24 to 48 hours. It's super easy to get going, and you can start acting on real data and start working with this from the get-go. I'm sure that we can more or less have interesting discussions, whoever you are, about this when we go down in your specific needs. And I'm very much looking forward to speaking to you about this. If you want to know more after this, hit me up, or I think we'll do a send out afterwards with some summary. But hit me up and we'll have a conversation. I'm thinking, I think this is the last slide. Do we have any questions? I think we do. So let's, how do I do this? Okay, so let's see. One could think that I haven't. Okay, let's see. We have some questions. Can you choose which sources you want to see reviews from? Yes, you can. I mean, we fetch everything, But when you drill down on the data, you can decide to look at only TripAdvisor, for example. You can go very much further than that. You can look at TripAdvisor only for English and only for that particular supplier, or from that particular composition of travelers. Let's see. I think, how often would you recommend to look at your data here? Great question. I would say that looking at this data as often as possible is key. Staying on top and answer quickly will definitely help bring the feeling that you are taking things seriously and your guests seriously. This increases loyalty. Of course, sometimes things are very time sensitive. So if you're heading into peak season and the first day gives you some feedback that you really, really should act on, but you are just looking at that 2 weeks later, then that might be too late. So I'd recommend checking this as often as possible. Then another question, great question here. If you have multiple properties, can you see single properties as well as the whole group? Yes, you can. So if you look at the destination view, that's usually just an overview of everything. So that's a combined score, combined information from all your properties. You can go down and drill the thing we saw with the insights. That's per property, but you can also have actually the reputation part of this, which is per property. So you can see the reviews per property and you can see insights per property there as well. So yes, very possible. I was thinking about one thing now that I did not say. Yes. So if you have, let's say you have 100 of suppliers or 5, and they grouped in your they are grouped. So let's say, for example, you are in northern Norway and you have a lot of Aurora tours, you have some dog sledding and you have some snowshoeing and snowmobile, and then maybe a whale cruise, I don't know. You can group these and create custom groupings so you can see, okay, how are the guests viewing our Aurora products? So you can want that as well. Powerful feature. Coming left, right, and center. Can I also choose what to display in the dashboard? Like for us, families is more important. It's possible to filter on data. The overall executive KPI sort of part of this, that is everything. But further down in this, you can actually go through and filter on, for example, see only families. That's where I came from with where I showed the family part of it. Hopes an answer to the question. Good. Is anything else? If there are no more questions, I will thank you very much for joining me today. It's always a bit weird to be the only speaker, but it's hopefully you have been able to take some important lessons from this. This is one of my favorite topics to discuss. Each one of you, if you want to reach out, then please do. We'll have a conversation. And with that, I want to wish you all a very good summer. Looking forward to speak more later. Have a great day. Bye.